WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskey. Today I have a German whiskey called the Alrik. It's named after a city close by in the Harz Mountain called Alrik. So Alrik, an old medieval name. And this is actually matured in a first fill Banyuls Barrique 615. And the price of this whiskey is the talking point of the day. This is 0.7 liter bottle, yay. This is 62.9%. I'm not sure if I really like that. And this is Whiskybase number WB181598. Now, it's non-chilled filtered, it's natural color, very nice. And what they do there at Elsburn, which is also called the Hammerschmiede Distillery, they actually malt their own or smoke their own malt. What they do is they take alder, A-D-L-E-R, alder trees and beech trees, and they use that smoke from the alder smoke and from the beech smoke, and they smoke their own barley. And then this is heavily smoked. It's not heavily peated, it's heavily smoked. And they actually then use that heavily smoked barley to produce this. This started off about 10, 12 years ago as one of the little pet projects of the owner, and since has turned into one of the favorite of the fans of the distillery. Now, Whisky Druid is an independent bottler. That's Michael Rick. He has, for example, the brand Scotch Universe. Maybe you've heard of it. I've talked about it here a few times. He has now the brand also called Old Friends. And he also has the brand here called here the Whisky Druid. And this is basically something which I must admit I am almost ashamed of buying or having bought because of the price. German whiskey is handmade, handcrafted, yes. But this was 184 euros and 90 cents. I'm going to repeat that number, 184 euros. This was bottled in 2021, and there is no distillation date on the bottle or on the internet. So this is a no-age statement. This could be 3-year-old whiskey going for 184 euros. So just to put that in perspective here, that would be, for example, 264 euros per liter. That's a lot of money. Or to put it in another perspective, there are 235 bottles. You take the number 235, you multiply it by 184, and you get a number for 46,000 euros, 779 euros and 70 cents. 46,797 euros and 70 cents. That's a lot of money. Now, if you take away 19% for the VAT that we have over here, the value-added tax, if you take away the 13 euros you have to pay for each alcohol liter that you have here, I'm just taking away half of the money, all right? So you take away half the money, you'd say this has 90 euros went into producing this whiskey. Never. All right, so you still have 23,000 left over. You take away the cask. The Banyuls cask was expensive. It was maybe 3,000 euros. So you take that away. Somewhere, someone still has 20,000 euros. For what? Now, we are living in very crazy times with whiskey. The prices are just skyrocketing. But this is sitting like lead in the shelves, at least in the online shops over here in Germany. Why? Because it's just absolutely too expensive. If they would have went for 99.90, I would have went, oh, interesting. If they would have went for 149, I would have went, oh, wow, that's too expensive. But 184 euros, that's just like, are you crazy? I think yes. So now we live in the time and the age where we have the consumer that says, hey, too expensive. And the realtor says, well, I can wait 6 months if I get 50 euros per bottle more. Why not? Hey, it's out there. I've sold it to my retailers and I've got my money already. So it's their problem now. This is one of the situations that we are at the moment and so on. Now let's try the whiskey. Let's try the whiskey without even thinking about the price. Let's imagine that I've never heard that this whiskey is going to be that expensive. Now, the things from the Hammerschmiede, from the Elsburn distillery, are always very, very fruit forward. Why? Is because they use their casks basically only once. For example, this is a first fill Banyuls cask. What is Banyuls? Banyuls is basically a French product. It's a French wine that's made in a very similar manner to port. What do I mean by that? So what they do is they put these, they leave the grapes on the vine until they turn into a shrunken type of raisin. Then they harvest these raisins, which means very, very little water, a lot of sugar, and they ferment this sugar. And then you have a very, very sweet liqueur, a very sweet dessert wine. And they add, and they stop the fermentation by adding, what was it here? Brandy, basically. So we have grain neutral spirits. Grain means from type of grain, and this is actually a grape neutral spirit. There's a technical word I forgot. And it's basically brandy, and which means they actually distilled this the wine until it became a very high percentage, 90% type of brandy. And they put it into the mix, and so the fermentation stops. The sugars remained in there, and they put it up in between they put it up in between 15 and 22% alcohol by volume. So if they leave it for about 10 months in a oak cask, it is therefore called a it's just called a Banyuls, but if it's left in the cask for over 30 months, it's called a Grand Cru. All right. And I know Elsburn has had many, many Grand Cru casks from France and from other regions. So that's the premium league, the highest class here. This does not say anything about a Grand Cru Barrique. It just says here first fill Banyuls Barrique. So the smoked Hercynian single malt whiskey. All right, very, very good. 62.9%. It kicks my butt. It's just too strong for me. At the end, you do get a nice little moment there and so on, but it's just way too much. If it would have been me, I would have diluted this down to like 56%, got a few more bottles out of it, reduced the price as well, and gave me something I can actually drink. Most people, me included, we don't really drink a no age statement between 3 and 6 years old whiskey here at 62%. No, it's double distilled. Who knows? Not really my cup of tea. Now, this is an interesting whiskey. It reminds me a little bit of a very fruity Bowmore, which I've never had. Very, very fruity. And it's a little bit, if you take the stick out of the bonfire and you have that smoke from the stick, that woodiness without being ashy. There's a little bit of ash in here. And what you also get is a very, very caramelized type of cranberry moment. I didn't mention that in my German video. Yes, it's a caramelized cranberry, which I've never had. This is a good whiskey. This is a C+ whiskey. I'm not complaining about the whiskey in any form or matter. Very good. No, I'm sorry, not get rid of the very. This is good whiskey. I am complaining about the price. And I don't care if it was handmade and blah, 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 and they filled it up, and they put the little capsule around theirs by hand. There's no way in the world that money that's left over, the 20+ thousand euros, was somehow integrated into this making of this bottle, all right? Personal opinion. Fruit forward, dark fruits, plums, the candied cranberry is in there. A lot of plum, really nice. And then that ashiness kind of kicks in a little bit, smoky ashiness kicks in a little bit. Very, very well made. If I didn't know better, I would have put this in Sweden. I would have said this is a Berg whiskey, or maybe Macmillan. They also do weird, funny experiments. It's a very sweet moment. It's the sweetness of that Banyuls cask really comes through, and it's actually very, very nice. This would be, in spite of it being heavily peated or heavily smoked, which I'm not the best fan of, but I would give this actually maybe a C+, almost a B minus, but it's a C plus whiskey. It needs a little bit of water. Take it down to 55%, and it's actually almost a very nice whiskey. And yeah, is it a B minus whiskey? In my book, no. It's not something I'd reach back to, but I cannot find, except for the high ABV of 62.9%, I cannot find any real faults, flaws here. And that's a personal opinion. I know there might be a few people out there go, oh, 62.9%, yummy, finally. I'm not one of those. Give me something around 55 or so on. I'm very, very happy. I don't need to have that way, way up there. But it's integrated. It's harmonious. It's actually a well done whiskey, scratching on the B minus value or vote here or evaluation. But the price, I just don't see it. I would be willing to pay 70 euros for this on the normal market. Beautiful bottle. Yes, this is the typical bottle Whisky Druid uses. Might cost them about 6 to 8 euros. Very, very good. And yet still, no way in God's good earth is this worth that amount of money. That's way over $200 for a no-age statement. Nope, 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 nope. Now, usually things from Ellsburn are sold out within minutes, hours. I've never, maybe even days, but I haven't seen weeks and months. This has been in the shelves now for over almost 6 weeks now, and it's still in the shelves of many, many online retailers. I'm sure some other people bought this, put it on the shelves, and if they did not have a customer that exactly wanted this bottle before someone else wanted to get it, I'm sure it's still in their shelves today because that's a hard sell. So you can buy 3 bottles of Glendronach 15, or you can buy 1 bottle of this. What would you like? I think I'm going to take the 3 bottles of Glendronach, to be honest. Or you could buy 3 bottles and almost 3.5 bottles of Glenallachie 15. Or would you like to have a no-age statement from Germany? I think I'm going to buy the Glenallachie. This is one of those bottles that is very, very much for the aficionados, for the fans of Whisky Druid, for the fans of the Ellsburn Distillery, and yet somehow these 235 bottles are still there. Some of them, maybe a 4th, maybe a 3rd, maybe only a 5th, but some of them are still there months later. So, I have no comparison whiskey because I have nothing from Germany at this cask strength with this amount of, or even from this type of cask that I could even compare it to. On unique scale, this receives an A. This is very unique, even for Germany. This is absolutely one of these wow bottles. But it does not command, in my opinion, that amount of money for that price. I like it. I do not like the price. Notch it down 50%, and we can talk. Personal opinion. Thank you very much. My question is, what is your most expensive bottle that you bought that was not from America or from Scotland? Aha. So it could be Irish, it could be German, it could be Japanese, it could be Scottish, it could be Swedish, it could be Canadian. What is the most expensive bottle? Just write down the bottle. You don't have to write down the price that you bought that was not from the US, so no bourbon, and was not from Scotland, so no Scotch. So something that was not a bourbon or Scotch country. What interests me. Thank you very much. WhiskyJason here. Whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. 1 of 235. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, tell others, and maybe even share this video with someone and tell them, hey, this is a very opinionated guy over in Germany telling us what he likes and what he dislikes. All the best. Bye-bye.